What happens when we die? This is undoubtedly one of humanity's oldest and most intriguing questions. Since the dawn of time, people from different cultures and religions have wondered what awaits us after death. But no matter how much beliefs try to offer answers, the mystery persists, as no one who crossed to the other side has returned to tell us exactly what happens. However, there is a phenomenon that might give us clues to this mystery: near-death experiences, or NDE. These experiences are not exactly rare, and over the years, various researchers have dedicated their lives to studying this intriguing phenomenon. NDE occurs when a person comes very close to death, in a moment when the heart stops beating, breathing ceases, or the brain stops receiving oxygen. What fascinates both scholars and laypeople is the fact that some individuals who go through these moments report surprising and sometimes inexplicable experiences. The term near-death experience, or NDE, began to gain relevance in scientific studies in the 19th century with French psychologist Victor Heger. However, it was American psychiatrist Raymond Moody who brought the topic into the spotlight in 1975 with the release of his book, Life After Life. Moody collected accounts of people who had undergone NDEs and identified patterns in the experiences, raising the question, is there life after death? Before analyzing these reports, it is important to define what it means to almost die. In the medical legal sense, death is confirmed when there is brain death. That is, when the brain ceases its activities. However, many near-death experiences seem to occur when the body undergoes extreme situations, such as cardiac or respiratory arrest, which, without medical intervention, would lead to death. The advancement of techniques such as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, and the use of defibrillators has allowed people who were once doomed to death to be revived. And it is during these moments that NDE reports become more common. During an NDE, the accounts of individuals vary, but there are certain elements that recur. In his book, Moody identified 9 common aspects in almost all near-death experiences. Among them are a loud buzzing, a sensation of peace and tranquility, the perception of being outside one's body, passing through a tunnel, encountering spiritual beings or deceased loved ones, and, in some cases, a review of important moments from one's life. Often these accounts culminate in a feeling of hesitation, as if the person is faced with a choice to return to life or move on. These elements are fascinating, but even more intriguing is the fact that many who experience an NDE report an enhanced awareness, as if they were observing everything around them from an external perspective with impressive detail. A famous example is the case of British artist Chev Grell, who was clinically dead for 7 minutes and painted pictures of what he saw during his NDE. He described intense lights, spiritual beings, and a sense of peace he had never experienced before. Some critics argue that these experiences could be the result of hallucinations or a lack of oxygen in the brain. However, many of those who undergo an NDE were not under the influence of drugs, and scientists struggle to explain how hallucinations could be so detailed and consistent among people of different ages, cultures, and beliefs. Studies like the one conducted by Johns Hopkins University attempted to compare NDEs with psychedelic experiences induced by drugs. But although there were some similarities, the intensity and depth of NDEs were significantly greater. Another point that scholars try to understand is the relationship between the mind and the brain. Some researchers, such as Dr. Bruce Grayson from the University of Virginia, believe that the mind may be independent of the brain, which would explain how some individuals can report detailed experiences even when their bodies are clinically dead. This hypothesis, known as the theory of mind-brain independence, is still highly contested in the scientific community, but is gaining traction with the increasing number of inexplicable reports. Documented cases of NDEs are numerous, and many challenge conventional medical explanations. One of the most famous cases is that of singer Pam Reynolds, who underwent delicate surgery to remove an aneurysm in her brain. During the procedure, her body was cooled and her heart stopped. She was clinically dead for a brief period, but upon regaining consciousness, she accurately described the instruments used by the doctors and the conversations that took place in the operating room, details she could not have observed. Another intriguing example is that of Laura Jeans, a 12-year-old girl who needed surgery to remove her tonsils. During the procedure, she reported having left her body and saw her mother moving a chair in the hospital corridor. When she regained consciousness, she asked her mother about it, and the mother was surprised because Laura couldn't have seen what happened from where she was. But if these accounts are so consistent, why do we still not have a clear explanation for NDEs? The answer is that, despite scientific advances, the nature of human consciousness remains a mystery. Professor Sam Parnia from New York University is one of the leading figures in the study of near-death experiences. He explains that when the heart stops beating, the brain does not suffer irreversible damage immediately. In fact, brain death occurs hours later, suggesting that there is a window of time in which the mind may continue to function even when the body is technically dead. A study conducted by Parnia monitored the brain activity of 567 patients who had cardiac arrests. In some cases, brain waves were detected even after the heart had stopped. This discovery offered a new perspective on the study of death. If the brain can continue to function for a few minutes after the body is considered clinically dead, it opens up the possibility that consciousness might temporarily persist, providing an explanation for NDEs. However, like all scientific research, this study also faced criticism. Bruce Grayson, who is also one of the top authorities on NDE studies, argued that the findings on brain activity were exaggerated by the media and that we still cannot directly associate these brainwaves with consciousness. In addition to scientific debates, NDEs raise philosophical questions. If the mind can indeed exist independently of the body, what does this mean for our understanding of life and death? Could consciousness be something deeper, not entirely dependent on biology? And if so, what awaits us on the other side? We are still far from having all the answers. What we do know is that the study of NDEs is only beginning to uncover a small part of this great mystery. It may be that we never have a definitive answer about what happens when we die, but the search for this answer leads us to question our very existence and the way we understand life. The fact is, as science progresses, the mystery of death will remain one of humanity's greatest questions, waiting for answers that, one day, we will all come to know.